I have chosen this topic deliberately because it appears that we seem to have forgotten a great grand man of Sindh, ne Pakistan, Mirza Khalid Beg. European civilization had its Renaissance, Reformation, and Enlightenment, and there are so many names: Diderot, Rousseau, Voltaire. I would call Khalid Beg as a combination of three. He is our Diderot, he is our Rousseau, he is a Voltaire. Mirza Khalid Beg's world of art and literature encompasses his literary career, the inspirations behind his thought, and his impact on Sindhi culture and society. Khalid Beg, the most prolific writer par excellence, was the morning star of modern Sindhi literature in the beginning of 20th century. His impact on Sindhi literature is so overwhelming that the entire literary period in the British era has been called the epoch of Khalid. He was the fount of wisdom and culture undefiled. Khalid is a Chaucer and Shakespeare. He is a harbinger of cultural renaissance in Sindh at a time when there was an acute vacuum intellectually and academically due to absence of modern reading material for the newly emerging Hindu and Muslim school-going generation of knowledge seekers. Khalid's place in the hierarchy of Sindhi literature is assuredly amongst the pioneers of Sindhi prose, and he seems to have influenced at least 4 generations of Sindhi writers, beginning with Dayaram Kidumal, Leelaram Batanmal Lalwani, ending with Sheikh Ayaz, Muhammad Ibrahim Joyo, Sirajulak Memon, Ghulam Rabbani Agro, and last but not the least, Dr. N.A. Baloch. Ayaz calls Mirza Khalid Beg as the most influential writer of the last century in his autobiography, and acknowledges his impact and inspiration on his own young, impressionable mind. Khalid Beg emerged on the intellectual scenario of Sindh at a time when there was an absolute dearth of reading material in the native language, and young Khalid was a thoroughbred and well-read scholar of English, Persian, Urdu, Arabic, Turkish, besides his mother tongue, Sindhi. He rendered yeoman service by reading voraciously all these languages and presenting more than 457 books for the students and scholars in his lifetime. The topics of these books are as varied as the strands in a beautiful Persian carpet. I am quoting from Ayaz. एतरा त चेतो खूबसूरत आहिनि जेके ग़ालीचे में गुल कीअं ठहियल हुजनि. अयाज़ तो ई चए. I am translating, paraphrasing Ayaz. These include, the books written by him include books on political economy, horticulture, agronomy, etymology, agriculture, archaeology, history, geography, Shakespearean plays in translation, rendering of German, Russian, and French novelists, short story writers, and poets like Goethe, Stendhal, Victor Hugo, Alexander Dumas, Gogol, Chekhov, Turgenev. Khalid was a Renaissance man in the true sense of the word, in as much as he was a creative genius like Michelangelo, who innovated new ideas for the world of art and literature after the dark ages of medieval European society. Afflicted with mental insolvency and ignorance, he also brought about a brave new world of modern sciences and arts to the threshold of an agrarian and feudalistic, moribund social Sindhi society. According to Professor Ajwani, he was called Aftab-e-Adab or Sindh of Sindhi literature by his admirers. Hakim Fateh Muhammad Sehwani, an eminent prose writer of his age, paid him tributes in a poem and expressed that after that other Sindhi writers were dimly lit stars, while Mirza was the sun and moon in the firmament of Sindhi letters. I am skipping the biographical details. Khalid Beg in English started with English. That is why I am a great fan of Khalid. Khalid composed a book of poetry during his student days at Bombay and entitled it The Leisure Hours, and introduced himself as K.F. Mirza, Khalid Faridun Mirza. The book was printed at Education Society's Press by Sula, 1887. It was published with the writer's permission by a friend of his and was dedicated as under, dedicated with permission to Professor William Wordsworth, principal of Elphinstone College, Bombay, as a token of regard by his most obedient pupil, the writer. According to Shamsul Ulma, Daud Bhutto Sahab, Mirza Khalid's principal, Professor William Wordsworth, was a descendant of the legendary English romantic poet William Wordsworth, the senior. This I have quoted from Mirza Khalid Beg, Quarterly, Sindhi Boli, 1997, the article by Allama Daud Bhutto. Now I come to his Persian poetry. According to Gangaram Garg, International Encyclopedia of Indian Literature, Volume 7, 8th, Khalid Beg commenced composing poems from his childhood. Later on, his original poems were issued under the title Sodai Kham, Unripe Melancholia, in 2 volumes, which contain about 450 ghazals and qasidas. He was the first and remains the best translator of Umar Khayyam's Rubaiyat, which he translated about 100, of which he translated 130 stanzas. A distinctive mark of Khalid's translation, Rubaiyat, was his introduction an introduction written to it by Dairam Gidumal, which reaches a rare excellence of craftsmanship in the Sindhi prose and gives the translation a unique aura and mystique. Besides, it confers on it an unmistakable pride of virtuosity in Sindhi literature. In this translation, Mirza Khalid appears to be a distinguished pioneer of literary works, which were a masterpiece of a world-class literature, already immortalized by Cambridge University scholar of Oriental Studies, Edward Fitzgerald. Now I come to his plays. My paper is quite lengthy. His first play was Feroz Dil Afroz, a rendering of Urdu play, Lailo Nihar, adapted from Lord Lytton's drama Night and Morning. His play Neki Badi was adapted from renowned Urdu playwright Agha Shah Kashmiri, which itself was borrowed from some Persian play written by a Parsi theatrical company of Calcutta. Khalid Beg remained the most prolific playwright of D.J. Sindh College Amateur Dramatic Society, Karachi. Commencing with an aesthetically exquisite translation of Kalidas Shakuntala in 1896, he turned his attention to great English dramatist Shakespeare's immortal plays and adapted Merchant of Venus, Husna Dildar, King Lear, Shah Elia, Cymbeline, Shamshad and Marjana, Two Gentlemen of Verona, Aziz and Sharif, Romeo and Juliet, Gulzar and Gulnar, Hamlet, Shehzad Behram, and As You Like It, Jamshed Hamida. He is a wonderful writer you can't even make out whether Shakespeare is writing it or Khalij is writing it. He is such a natural translator, yet to be seen in Sindhi. Now I come to his novels. In the field of novel, Khalij was an outstanding pioneer. He wrote novel Dilaram a year before his masterpiece Zenith, 1890. And it was not an original work. Zenith was the first original novel in Sindhi, it is stated, though some critics still believe that the central idea was borrowed from some Urdu or a Gujarati, Marathi novel. Now I end Karopano, Saopanya Karopano, wherein he has written, and that has been beautifully translated by my friend Aijaz Beg Mirza. Whatever Khalij had done in life is written for all to see. The Darwish only gives a green leaf blessings to those as a sign of their good deeds. If due to any wrong act I have done in my life, a leaf of my book will be black, then my blackened face will stand out from my beard that has now grown white. What a fool I am to write with my own hands the good and the bad deeds of my life. But the reason for writing my biography is a desire of my friends to learn. You, the readers, will be happy to read the truth about my life, but then I will be unhappy to have revealed the foolish deeds of my life. You can write and write and write on Khalij. You can talk and talk on Khalij. Khalij's topic is yet to be explored by our Sindhi writers, basically because of two reasons. Khalij is not accessible to people. There is a Khalij chair in Sindh University which is yet to take off. Number two, Khalij mostly writes at the intellectual level which is not now accessible to the common youth of Sindh because they are fed on literary columns in newspapers. Khalij's status and Khalij's standing in literature is that of a serious writer. You have to treat Khalij at the level of Shakespeare, Francis Bacon, Carlyle, and Wordsworth. That is why Khalij is little difficult to comprehend. Thank you very much.